Hello everyone, welcome back to another exciting night of Team VLR Racing here. Do not know where Wes Graham is. I think he's off in a little vacation, but so he won't be in the booth tonight. But in the booth tonight, I have Blake McCandless. How are you doing there tonight, sir?
Fine there, Dylan. Ready to watch some good racing here from Volusia, a track that it's pretty common with some good racing that we've always seen here out of the UMP Modified. So I know these guys are going to put on a really good show tonight.
That is going to be for sure. These guys have been putting a lot of practice on, and a little bit more practice than normal, but as we go in, advancing the session down to qualifying here, I believe we had over 32, 33 guys in the server, so we're going to go around and we're going to take a look on the number 777 of Jacob Levenstein. As he goes around and he makes his first laps. Track's very used, not a lot of grip in that bottom lane, but these UMP drivers, they know what to do and they know how to get this job done.
Well, they certainly do, and I mean, you can look out over the track. Of course, these guys had a 30-minute practice session before they got things going. The track's already very, very slick early on in the going, which here at Volusia, you know, not too much room out there. You got enough room in the corners to kind of run different lanes here in the UMP Modifieds, but I think you're going to see guys utilizing that bottom lane, but with the slickness in it, that's going to bring out the best drivers and put them to the top of the speed charts. I always love to see a slick racetrack. Is right now Jacob Levenstein holding down a 17.778 for the driver of the 777. That's good for 5th place on the speed chart.
Most definitely right now, fastest driver on track is at number 3 of Shane James, and he's been having a very rough night. Good to see him up being the fastest driver on track right now. But watching the number 26 of Adam Bush as he goes around and makes his, I believe that was his second lap, putting him 11th, up 17.9. Just going through our entry list here, seeing who's on track. Virgil Graham in the 42. He's out making his first qualifying lap. As he goes on, he puts down... He goes on and makes his first green flag lap. I thought that was already his first, but... Going down, putting down his first as he goes around, goes through turn 3 and 4, takes that bottom lane. Now, that bottom lane is really used, but these UMPs kind of like that slick a little bit. Not a lot of big back tire. As he goes around, he goes into 8th with a 17.794.
Yeah, Virgil Graham puts down a 794, but we look up to the top of the speed chart. A new car out there, the 999 of Dylan Fox, just bested Shane James 17.644 with a 632. So moved Dylan Fox up to the top of the speed charts. And again, a guy that was pretty quick on in practice as well. But you can see the top times in practice are already about 4 to 5 tenths slower running now here in qualifying. So obviously this track making a difference for these drivers, and again, it's really showing you which drivers love the slickness out here, something that somebody like me, especially running on the dirt here, you love a slick track because you think the drivers that have a little bit better skill are going to be able to go to the front.
Watching that number 80, Dylan Wilson, he's the man in these UMP Modifieds. He is so fast, going around doing a 17.598, the only driver that can hit that 5 mark. As speak of the devil, Howard Weaver in that 07 goes around, he makes the fastest lap, 17.591. Fastest driver on the track, and kind of not in the very bottom of the track either.
Yeah, he is the fastest guy on the track. Him and Dylan Wilson, the two guys that have eclipsed the 17.5 mark now. Not too many guys left to go. We got Tommy Dutcher that is yet to pull down a lap, along with the number 10 of Kyle Miller, who is coming out of turn number 4 right now, I believe, completing that first lap, or coming to his first lap, rather. So, again, kind of go to the middle to the bottom there in 1 and 2. And, again, you don't really see a lot of guys even testing that outside right now. Everybody's trying to go for the bottom, and I think that's going to make for a really interesting show when guys are getting down there right next to that pit road wall to try to get as low as possible.
Yeah, most definitely. Not seeing that top side come in is kind of very, it's a good thing to see as a driver, because with the not having that cushion there, kind of makes Volusia a very fun track to drive. You know, not having to worry about being on that top lane, not having to worry about being, driving that perfect knife race, you can kind of drive in any lane you want, and these guys definitely destroyed multiple lanes of this track. So watching these heats that are going to come up in probably about 2 minutes or so are going to be a very fun treat to see. So I believe we're going to have at least maybe 3, if not 4 heats tonight. So going to have a lot of help in changing this track, and definitely going to be seeing a B main.
Absolutely. We'll definitely get some heats and some B main action for you out there watching on all the different platforms. We're bringing to you tonight Team VLR UMP Modifieds from Barberville, Florida, the Volusia Speedway Park, a half-mile track down here in Florida, 79 degrees right now in the virtual sphere. And it looks like qualifying will be complete now, as I think 2 of the guys that not pulling times kind of pulled off the track, and that'll complete that. But heat number 1 is getting ready to get on the grid. It looks like led by Jacob Leverstein.
Yeah, this heat's going to be a very interesting heat. A lot of the fast drivers are in here, but as the grid's up on your left-hand side, 10 drivers are going to be in this heat. A lot of fan favorites in here. Jacob Levenstein, Dalton Connor, Shane James, Howard Weaver are your top 4. You know, Cole Newhoffen, tough night these last few nights. John Little too, Blake Brown, Adam Bush, Jacob Capron, or Jimmy Capron, I mean, and Brown. These guys are all fast guys in this field.
They're all fast guys, but we're going to see very early on how these guys handle a racetrack that's really slick, and everybody's going to be going for that bottom lane all at once. So I don't know how much room there's going to be to pass here, so I don't know if this invert may be going to hurt some of the guys that qualified a little bit quicker.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I believe we are taking the top 3 here, so one of these top 4 are not going to advance to the A main and are going to have to run that B main. And it's going to be just a lot of work. I can just tell by now, you know, Jeremy Capron, he's, you know, we're so used to seeing him in the front, and he's starting in 9th. He's going to have a lot of work to do, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see what fastest driver Howard Weaver in that 07 going to do. Well, he's starting in 4th.
It's going to be interesting to see how this top line will try to migrate to the bottom. And again, it seems like something we mention every week. You want to get a great jump on these restarts, a good opportunity to pass as many cars as possible. Just don't know how you're going to really do it and how things are going to shake out if you're on the top side. It looks like the bottom is where you want to be. So that's going to be a worry for Howard Weaver there in the 07 in the 4th spot. The 29 of Dalton Connor also starting in 2nd on the outside of the 777 of Jacob Leverstein, who, courtesy of the invert, will lead us to green for heat number 1 here at Volusia Speedway Park.
As the pace truck's going to come down this time by, Flagman has the green flag in his hand, and we are green flag racing for heat number 1. Jacob Levenstein has a great start, but right behind him we go 2 wide for 2nd.
And 2 wide, and Howard Weaver trying to poke to the inside of Shane James, not going to be able to do it. That moves the number 3 to the inside of Dalton Connor. Dalton Connor hanging tough right on the edge of that slick on the outside lane. And here you see something with cars on that outside lane, guys on the bottom not able to utilize that momentum off the corner. Dalton Connor hanging strong, but Shane James just about overtakes him on the back straightaway. It looks like he'll about get it in 3 and 4, but how about Dalton Connor still hanging strong there on the top side at the line?
Walking a little bit farther back as this battle goes on, Howard Weaver has a perfect view. Just so perfect, we can put him on the OCTV onboard cam, watching him drive this UMP modified. But looking behind, Howard Weaver, Cole Newhoffen, and John Little too are doing a nice little battle for 5th. But right now, the main show is Howard Weaver trying to pass Shane James.
He is trying to get there on the bottom of the 29 of Dalton Connor. Howard Weaver looking to try to make up some ground, but again, everybody running the same lane just not a lot of room out there, but I think this battle up in front of him may help him out a little bit as Shane James is starting to poke to the inside, and he'll take the inside over that 777 of Jacob Leverstein, and he's looking for the lead. Looks like Leverstein not able to quite do it. Or James not able to quite do it as Leverstein will take back over the top spot. Again, James holding steady in second. Howard Weaver losing a little bit of ground there in the fourth spot. Again, we're only going to have 10 laps here as we come to lap number 7. 6 are on the board. Weaver running out of time to try to complete the pass on that 29. And again, Shane James starting to pounce a little bit there on the 777 as he looks for the lead once again.
Yeah, Shane James is doing everything in his power to just try to get by him, but right now this track is very bottom lane driven. Now looking throughout this field, we have Cole Newhoffen in that number 8 and 5th. He's trying to make that high side work, and it's working a little bit, but not at all like we're used to seeing. But going around, battle for 3rd for your transfer spot. Howard Weaver is pushing Dalton Connor around through the corner using that front bumper to his advantage, just getting side by side with him. Gonna dive it in. Contact is gonna be made, and Howard Weaver's gonna make that spot.
Yeah, he is. Howard Weaver shoves Dalton Connor out of the way for that 3rd spot as we are at 1 lap to go. Jacob Leverstein still holding down the lead. Don't know if Dalton Connor can make a run at Weaver. Looks like he can't. Shane James not going to be able to overtake Leverstein. Leverstein will take the first checkered flag in the night. Shane James in second. Howard Weaver giving a little bit of a shove there to the 29 of Dalton Connor. He'll take the final transfer spot in 3rd, and then Dalton Connor finish up in the 4th spot.
And that heat, hopefully throughout these next few heats here, we can see this track kind of change more. It's kind of a really bottom lane dominant, not a very strong lane, top lane, but hopefully that will change. But as drivers start loading in here, some big names, Dylan Wilson, he's the man behind these UMPs. He knows how to put them in his positions and get those passes done. Garrett Nabergi up in 5th, but Blake, you got the grid.
All right, I'll take it for you. Starting in 1st is going to be the 66 of Ronnie Falloway, and 2 is outside the number 5 of Trevor Fitz. Zach Rounds in the 28 is going to start in 3rd, and then Dylan Wilson, our 2nd qualifier in our qualifying session, in the 80 will start in 4th. Garrett Niebergy will start in 5th on the inside of row number 3. Mike Moner will restart in 6th. Lucas Chowning will start in 7th in the 47 machine. In 8th is going to be the 22 of Drew Phillips. 9th is going to be Benjamin Natting in the 21. And then 10th is going to be the number 10 of Kyle Miller, who did not put down a qualifying time. So who knows, maybe he doesn't deserve to be back there. If he's faster than the time he put down, he may be able to go up and race through this field. So that'll be something to watch as well, along with the rest of these guys battling to try to be those 3 cars to transfer to the A main.
Yeah, most definitely. It's going to be interesting seeing what Kyle can do, but, we saw in that last heat, Jeremy Capron, he started 9th, he finished 9th. He can't really make any moves, but hopefully maybe these boys can get this top side maybe rolling a little bit more, make this a little bit more multi-groove racing. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see. But as Paystruck's going to come down into pit lane this time as we are going to see what these 10 UMP drivers can do. And the big question is watching Dylan Wilson get into that transfer spot.
Yeah, what we'll see is the field is under the control of Ronnie Falloway coming off of turn number 4. Arcs it up, dives it down. Green flag is in the air for heat number 2. Falloway gets a good jump, but how about that battle for second? Already starting to heat up. Trevor Fitz is on the outside there. And it looks like the 128 going to be able to make a move, or the 28 rather. That's Zach Rounds moving it up into second on the bottom side. And Dylan Wilson already looking to get some momentum and try to make this a 3-way battle for the 2nd spot. Wilson slides up into the outside lane as those 2 cars in front of him are still too wide.
Yeah, right now Dylan Wilson kind of is driving that middle lane, trying to do everything in his power to get by him. Maybe a little bit of bumping going on, just enough to maybe upset the car in front of him. But right now, we have a 4-way for the lead, as all of them are all underneath a blanket.
Yeah, they are. Fallaway, after that great launch, starting to get reeled in a little bit by that 5 car. And how about Trevor Fitz challenging for the lead on the outside lane as he'll dive it down to corner number 2. Now Dylan Wilson wants part of it as they're almost 4 wide as they come off the corner. Fallaway still holding it down on the bottom. Fitz trying to make it work on the outside there. He'll get to the outside quarter panel of the 66. A little bit of contact there. Fallaway still holds the lead. Fitz still battling on the outside.
Yeah, Trevor Fitz is doing everything in his power to get that high side moving, but I just don't see it going unless there was a mistake. But that was a mistake in that 66 of Fallaway as he goes around and loses the lead. Give it to Trevor Fitz.
Give it to Trevor Fitz, but it looks like that second spot, Dylan Wilson wants a part of it. How about Trevor Fitz, though? We talked about the bottom side and how you want to be there. Fitz getting it done on the outside. It looks like Wilson trying to take some notes as we approach lap number 7 out of 10. Fallaway is in second. Dylan Wilson, though, in third and marching. He's about to the outside of Fallaway off the corner.
Yeah, Wilson is taking that higher side, trying to make that higher side work for him. And as he's making it work as he goes past on the high side as Fallaway drops down to third. And 3 wide battle for the lead.
Yeah, Dylan Wilson trying to throw it up the middle on Trevor Fitz and Ronnie Fallaway. Those front 2 cars starting to break away here as Dylan Wilson trying to dive it on the bottom. Trying to utilize that bottom lane. Trevor Fitz, though, still maintains the lead. 2 laps to go. And there's really 4 drivers that can come out of this with the win, and you got that battle for the transfer spot between Fallaway and Zach Rounds here as they come out of 3 and 4. White flag is being displayed, 1 lap to go.
White flag is out. Dylan Wilson is doing everything in his power to get to Trevor Fitz as he might have just bumped him just a little bit, but can't get the pass done. Let's see if he can make that slide job go. Trevor Fitz takes that bottom lane as it's not gonna happen as Trevor Fitz wins heat number 2.
A great drive there from the driver of the number 5, Trevor Fitz, getting it done on the outside and making that pass for the lead. Dylan Wilson climbs his way into the second spot. And then how about Ronnie Fallaway utilizing that invert to start in first, hold on to transfer to the A main, finishing in the top 3. Zach Rounds came up just short. Really a great battle. Our top 4 finished within 0.7 tenths of a second within each other, so a great battle there, and hopefully that's a little bit of an indication of what we're going to see later on tonight. Right now, we'll get you set for heat number 3, coming to you right after heat number 2. Virgil Graham in the 42 is going to start in first. We followed him in qualifying. To his outside is going to be the 37 of Randall Carter. Starting in third is going to be Clay Debin, and to his outside, the 999 of Dylan Fox. Starting in fifth is going to be the 4 of David Heileman, and in sixth is going to be the 007 of Jacob Fields. Starting in 7th is going to be Albert Perez, and to his outside in the 27, Jason Minot. And then starting in 9th, Dennis Potridge is going to start on the inside of the 722, another driver who did not turn a lap in qualifying. That's Tommy Dutcher.
Tommy Dutcher is not on the grid here, but definitely going to be interesting watching David Heileman in that number 4. I see some of the fans already in the chat. If you are in the chat, tell us what driver you're looking for in that A feature and where you're from. You know, we love to see where you all are from, where you're all watching. So it's kind of interesting to see how the power of Facebook can spread the word of the dirt racing here in the esports. So go around and tell us where you're from. But watching David Heileman in that 4 car is definitely going to be a challenge. But Dylan Fox in that 999 up in 4th. Let's see if he can get it done like Dylan Wilson did. But Pace Truck is going to come down this time by, and Virgil Graham is going to take the green flag right now. Heat number 3 is underway.
Again, Graham gets a good launch into turn number 1, but look to the inside. That 37 to Randall Carter has a mirror full of the 84 Clay Debin. Some check up in the back of the field for Dylan Fox. So that's going to slow Jacob Fields down as well. David Heileman already up to that 4th spot momentarily as he'll dive it down to the inside of Dylan Fox. And again, that 42 got a great launch, but right now the battle is on for that 3rd spot, that 3rd transfer spot between the 999 and the 84 of Clay Debin. Right now, Fox diving it down to the inside lane, gets the momentum. They're side by side as they cross the stripe. And it looks like that 84 doing a good job there, pinching the 999 down, but off the corner, Dylan Fox move him to the third spot, and now there's a battle for the lead between Carter and Graham.
Virgil Graham's taking that middle lane, kind of blocking the bottom, but Randall Carter is doing everything in his power. He's definitely doing a more of a straighter entry compared to Virgil Graham, but he's definitely doing his best to do. But I'm more worried about the battle for the transfer spot. Dylan Fox is kind of by himself, but he has 4 hungry cars right behind him that could get it done. Jacob Fields is only, I would say, about half a car length back, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see what goes on here. But everyone's kind of spread out right now, but looking back, the only driver that I see taking that high side is David Heilemann in that Ford, seeing if there's anything up there, and he's getting past like a rock.
I was about to say 17.858 there for David Heilemann. A lot of our leaders up here kind of running high 7s, low 8s, so Heilemann testing out that top lane, not as bad as you would think, running relatively even with those guys as he puts down a 17.9 this last time by, but I believe you're going to have to go to the bottom. When you're side by side, I can see the case for the high side, but right now, when those guys are able to launch up off the corner, I think that bottom side's just a little bit too powerful. But Virgil Graham holding it down as we approach lap number 8, Randall Carter in second, Dylan Fox third, and then Jacob Fields seeing what he can do with Heilemann in fourth.
As battle for fourth is underway between David Heilemann and Jacob Fields as they are playing leapfrog from 4th to 5th. But David can kind of get that run off that high side in 1 and 2, just can't pull it in 3 and 4. But as he makes the pass, as David Heilemann's now in 4th, but Jacob Fields is right on that side, gonna try to make that pass work and not gonna make it work. But white flag is out for Virgil Graham in that 42 as he has no one in his mirrors.
No, he doesn't. It looks like he can just kind of settle it down in 3 and 4 and bring it on home. Virgil Graham going to take the checkered flag in heat number 3. He's going to be followed by Randall Carter and Dylan Fox transferring to the A main. David Heilemann able to make up that spot, though. He'll finishing up in 4th, and of course that is important for our B main event, a better starting spot for that Ford machine. So kind of a strung out race there, what we saw in heat number 3, not exactly what we saw there in heat number 2. I think we just saw kind of a gap in the field and what these guys are capable of, but we'll move on. We're actually going to get a C main tonight. We're going to have 11 drivers in our C main, and 4 are going to transfer on to the B main. Only 8 laps for this C main, so it's going to go very quickly. And again, the top 4 will qualify. Here's the grid for that C main. The 22er Drew Phillips going to start on the inside of Jason Minette in the front row. Third is going to be the 74 of Blake Brown, and to his outside is going to be the 10 of Kyle Miller. Starting in 5th, the 06 of Albert Perez. Start on the inside of the 23 of Jeremy Capron. Lucas Chowning is going to start in 7th. Dennis Potridge in 8th. Rodney Brown 9th. Benjamin Nading in 10th. And then in 11th, if he can get out to the grid, obviously did not want to run in that last heat, would be the 722 of Tommy Dutcher if he's up here. So that's going to complete it for the C main here tonight, and we'll see what these guys are capable of. A lot of these guys ran pretty similar qualifying times. We've seen that invert kind of helping some guys out as Virgil Graham was able to take the top spot and the win, as well as in heat number 1, Jacob Leverstein was able to do the same thing. So thinking that as the track's changing, but also we see a lot of people going for kind of that single groove in the bottom, in the middle. It's kind of showing you that track position is very, very key here.
Yeah, most definitely. But Lucia Speedway has always been about that bottom lane. Ever since it came out in iRacing, they've kind of moved it around a little bit, but still that bottom lane is where you want to be. You know, if Drew Phillips can take that bottom lane and he can run, he's definitely going to be in a good position. But, you know, he had a lot of these good competitors behind, but one driver that kind of really throws me for a loop that he's not already in the feature, it's Jeremy Capron in that 23. He's in 6th. He has to go by 2 cars to go into the B main to attempt to get into the feature. So it's definitely going to be a lot of work for him, but it's definitely going to be interesting as Page Truck is going to come by, this time by down pit lane, as Drew Phillips is going to have the lead as we go green flag racing. Let's go for C main.
8 laps is going to be all that encompasses this race. The 22er Drew Phillips gets a decent launch there into 1, but that battle behind him is exactly what he wants to see. But how about Blake Brown there, charging up on the inside lane, moving up to the middle. He'll take down the second spot. Contact made there for first. Is going to jumble him up back in the pack between Minette and Kyle Miller, but how about Blake Brown making the move from third to second on the lap number 1? And now Kyle Miller and that 27 and Jason Minette able to battle for that third and fourth spot. And now you bring Jeremy Capron into the mix, trying to transfer onto the B main.
Jeremy Capron's currently sitting in fourth, according to timing and scoring, battling that 27 and Jason Minette as he's trying to do the best he can to get by him. But we are 3 wide for transfer spot. Give it to Jerry Capron on that bottom lane, holding off that 10 of Kyle Miller. As, man, that was some close racing going into turn number 3.
It was a 3-wide battle for third and a 2-wide battle for the top spot. Blake Brown and Phillips making contact. That's going to allow Minette to go down there onto the bottom and pass for that second spot. May challenge for the lead. More contact there with Phillips. That's going to check him up. Blake Brown, move him up to the top spot. Jason Minette now sitting in third in a sandwich. He's in the middle, 3 wide now, and all the way back to 5th out of the C main or B main.
Jason Minette going around, taking that higher side, seeing if he can do what David Heileman did in that last heat, kind of just falling back a bit more. But Jeremy Capron up in that 4th spot in the C main if he can keep it up. But that 27 of Jason Minette is doing everything in his power to get by him, but contact for second with Kyle Miller and Drew Phillips in turn number 4. We go back into turn number 1, and they kind of fan out a little bit.
I'll tell you what, one driver that's able to launch up off the corner, despite all this slickness out here, that's the number 10 of Kyle Miller. He is able to get right up to the back of the 74, not slide it on the exit. And you can see right there, getting a little bit of a better jump there than the 74. He's going to try to make it work on the high side as the white flag is out. 1 lap to go. Blake Brown holding it down in the lead, but Kyle Miller trying to make a move on the outside. Oh, he slides up, ducks it back down, but Blake Brown going to take the checkered flag. Kyle Miller in second, Drew Phillips in third, and I believe 4th at the line is going to be the 23 of Jeremy Capron, and those are going to be the 4 drivers moving on to the C main or B main tonight.
What a very impressive move to see Jeremy Capron move from that 6th position up to 4th and make the attempt to be in the B feature going down to the main. But right now, a lot of cars out here, 14 drivers, the most we've seen. Be interesting to see what we can do. And correct me if I'm wrong, Blake, but I think we're taking the top 12 or top 11.
I'm not quite sure. I'm looking out here, at least according to what iRacing, the system is telling us that we got 15 guys that are going to transfer to the B main. So that would actually mean that every driver that grids up here is going to be in the show later on tonight. So I guess, yeah, that's going to be the case. The B main is going to be kind of more of a qualifying race, kind of like the Daytona Duels, where you just get to kind of run a race and try to help your starting spot there for the A main. Maybe if you tear it up a little bit, you learn some things, and you're able to learn that for the A main. So we'll get you gridded up here for that B main. The 29 of Dalton Connor going to start on the inside of Zach Rounds. David Heidelman going to start in third. Cole Newhafen is going to start in fourth. Mike Mullner in fifth. Jacob Fields in sixth. John Litterall in seventh. Garrett Nieberge in eighth. Clay Debin in ninth. 10th is going to be Adam Bush. And then you see there in order the finish of our C main: Blake Brown in 11th, Kyle Miller in 12th, Drew Phillips in 13th, and then Jeremy Capron there in 14th. So it says right now, and again, we may get clarification there from the admins, but right now 15 will transfer onto the A main out of 14 drivers that are gridded up here. So this may be a qualifying race. We'll keep you updated out there on Facebook and what have you out there. But right now, that's what we're going to be running here, kind of a qualifying race here which obviously the last time we'll see a race on this slicked out track.
Yeah, after this track, already you can see drivers are going out, gonna kind of remake the track surface, but Pace Truck's in as Dalton Connor had a terrible start as David Heileman's right on his bumper, pushing him down the straightaway. David Heileman is up in third, battling that 28 as Simon scoring is going all crazy. Zach Rounds as Cole Newhoffen's up in that mix too. We have everyone still in a blanket for the lead as we go 4 wide.
4 wide, nearly 5 wide there as Heileman will slide all the way back to the 5th spot. Right now they're 2 wide for second. Jacob Fields trying to work on the inside of the 28 of Zach Rounds. Newhoffen is out there in 4th, a 2 wide battle between him and the 56 of Mike Moner. So really 2nd through 6th, 7th, 8th, all jumbled up here. They don't really care if this is a qualifying race. 4 wide there for the 5th spot off at corner number 2. So these guys are definitely being aggressive here in this B main.
Yeah, these guys are trying to, right now, this is all about position on track for this A main. They all know that they're going to the feature. If they crash, they're just going to the back of the feature. They're not all that worried about it. They just want to get that position for that A main. Farther up the track you can go, farther in the grid, better your chances are on winning, especially if they see how this is going now. But man, let me tell you, this 4 wide racing in the middle of the track is just amazed me. As we got Cole Newhoffen, David Heileman, Mike Moeller, and I believe that was Adam Bush in that 26, and that was going 4 wide just for a second, a little bit more. But as we go around, we can finally see both of these lanes are moving. I can see in the chat the Heilemaniacs are jumping up and down for their man. Oh no, we got Jeremy Capon loose on in the back as he's smashing cars as that's Blake Brown spins in the 74. It goes around, does not hit anyone, but definitely ends his chances on advancing his position. He's going to be in 14th as we do not have cautions in the mains. Well, B and C main.
Don't. But we are having some lead changes right now. Zach Rounds utilizing that high side, and he has been working it steady, running right along the edge of where that slickness is. He's easily able to go by Dalton Connor, so it looks like you were saying earlier, Dylan, the track finally starting to wear out enough to where that high side, Dalton Connor moves up to it. It seems like he needs a little time to adjust to it, though. He checks up Jacob Fields, who will try to go down to the inside 2 laps to go as Fields will try to throw a slider unsuccessfully. Dalton Connor able to pull up in 2nd. Newhoffen in 4th. David Heileman in 5th as the white flag is going to be displayed here for the 28 of Zach Rounds.
Zach has just a little over a second, a little under a second lead, but in his mirror he sees a whole bunch of battling and he likes that. Cole Newhoffen trying to go around catch back up to Jacob Fields, but does not look like it's going to happen. But Dalton Connor and Jacob Fields are going to go side by side, and Jacob Fields does not get the pass done as he goes into 3rd.
And that is going to complete our B main festivities for you this evening. Zach Rounds takes down the checkered flag. Dalton Connor in 2nd. Jacob Fields 3rd. Cole Newhoffen 4th. And David Heileman's going to round out your top 5 here. As again, that was mainly a qualifying race trying to determine the grid for our A main later on tonight. So stay right with us. We're going to be transferring servers here over to the A main. Don't go away. We'll be right back with you here shortly here on Off Camber TV.
And as always, we would like to thank our sponsors here tonight. And for every Team VLR broadcast, we want to thank the X.CELERATED for sponsoring the Big 3, the Hard Charger for these UMP modifieds, to Baleberry Designs, and to the champion of the modifieds. Gotta thank R1 Chassis giving away a beautiful chase rig, and Kenny Wallace racing experience for all of Team VLR champions.
The car behind me is my Chili Bowl midget, the one that I won the Chili Bowl with. And what's interesting about that is it's actually the car that iRacing scanned that's going to be available to all the iRacing members out there.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
As we are back here once again for Team VLR, a main UMP Modified Series racing here. And some of you guys were asking where he was. I found him. He was actually up at the hot dog stand watching the fire go. But we got Wes Graham back in the house.
Yeah, sure do. Thank you, Dylan, for making me look even fatter than I already am. All right, so we are.
You're not fat. You're big boned.
Big bone, big tummy, everything. I'm rocking a beer gut, definitely. But anyways, we are back here at the Volusia Speedway Park for the Accelerated UMP Modified Series presented by WR1 Sim Chassis. And I got to listen in to about the back half of the heat races. So a lot of familiar faces ended up transferring over. Of course, looking at the points, Dylan Wilson and Howard Weaver, your top 2 dogs in the race with these 2 races remaining. So Wilson has about a 9-point lead over Howard Weaver. I know both of them transferred through both of their heats, so they're both going to be starting near the front. definitely going to have to keep their noses out of trouble if they want to continue this points battle. If not, both guys run into trouble. There's a very hungry Virgil Graham back there in third, about, let's say, 30-some-odd points back. So, getting this warm-up session finished here in just a few seconds. And, Blake, you've actually just got to see all of the racing here tonight. What are you expecting out here out of these boys?
Well, I may have seen all the racing, but it was on a much different racetrack. We're looking out at the lap times right now. Again, at the end of our heats, we were seeing lap times about a full second slower than what we're seeing right now. Obviously, the track not near as worn out on the bottom. And guys also playing around with that middle groove, but overall this track is just much, much faster than the one we just left in our other server. So I think what we've seen a lot is track position matters. It's not necessarily a one-groove racetrack. If you get side-by-side, it seems like both lanes have been relatively even throughout the night. But yeah, you look over the time chart now, there's so many 17.1s on the board all the way throughout the field. It's going to be a really competitive A-main, and I think, again, track position is going to matter with how competitive and how close a lap time these guys are running.
Oh, yeah, and all the usual suspects towards the top of the speed charts as well. Dylan Wilson, fastest in this warm-up session. Clay Debin, Howard Weaver, Randall Carter, Jacob Leverstein, of course. Virgil Graham sitting there in sixth. So, only 2 more races left to go until we crown a champion. Of course, champion will get that WR1 sim rig. There's really nice, very well put together pieces of machinery. They are definitely a great prize for anybody to be able to win or, buy themselves. Of course, they get the Kenny Wallace Dirt Racing Experience drive at a track of their choosing in a car of their choosing. And then, of course, the purse at the end of the season as well. So, a lot on the line for the likes of Dylan Wilson and Howard Weaver coming into race number 11 here tonight. Trying to see if there's any, not really any names sticking out to me that hasn't been made an A-main here in the last couple of weeks. So, usual suspects out here on the racetrack tonight. And it looks like the admins want to get that bottom tore up just a little bit more. Try to promote some more 2-lane racing and some passing before we drop the green flag later on here.
Yeah, looks like that's what they're attempting to do, running this 10-minute practice session to its conclusion here as the time is going to elapse here momentarily, and that's going to put an end to our practice session. 16.982 put down by Dylan Wilson is going to top the speed charts, and again, when we were in qualifying, looked like a 17.3 was about the fastest we can muster, and then as the track wore on, we slowed down a significant amount, so we'll see if we see the same thing tonight. But right now, I'll throw it over to you, Wes, to give us the grid for the A-main that we're going to see tonight.
All right, got to get some cars on the grid here. Get them on the front stretch loaded in. A pretty interesting front row if they'd ever move those cars out to the front row here. Gonna look back through, kind of spotty out there towards the back of the pack, but majority of drivers had decided to bless us with their presence here tonight. And starting on pole tonight, going to be the 07 of Howard Weaver. And to his outside in row number 1, the 80 of Dylan Wilson. Both of our points competitors out there on the front row. Dylan Fox in the 999 is going to start out of position number 3. And the 777s of Jacob Leverstein going to roll off in 4th. You have the 28 of Trevor Fitz and the 42 of Virgil Graham in row number 3. Shane James in the 3 car going to start in 7th. And Randall Carter, the 37, out of position number 8. 66 of Ronnie Falloway going to start out of 9th, and rounding out our top 10 is going to be Zach Rounds. We got Dalton Connor in 11th position in the 9 car, and to his outside, the 007 of Jacob Fields in 12th. Cole Newhoff in the 8 car going to start in 13th. David Hylam in the 16 and 14th. 15th goes to the 56 of Mike Molnar. Adam Bush in the 26 going to start out of position number 16. 17th going to be the 22 of Drew Phillips. Garrett Nabergi in the 19 car out of position 18. 19th going to be Kyle Miller in the 10 car. And rounding out our top 20 going to be the 68 of John Littoral. Jeremy Capron in the 23 car going to start 21st. Clay Debin, the 84, in 22nd. Blake Brown, the 74, going to start in 23rd. 24th, the 18 of Jason Minette. And rounding out our 25 car field here tonight is going to be the 47 of Lucas Chowning. We got about a half a lap until we unleash these UMP modifieds here at the half mile at Volusia. Got Howard Weaver in that 07 going to start on the pole here, and Dylan Wilson going to look to make quick work of him and get around him and get out to that race lead on the outside. Pace truck is into turns 3 and 4. Howard Weaver, the 07, on the inside, ready to get this thing going. Gets on the gas, and we're green flag racing here at Volusia.
And Howard Weaver gets a good jump there. Parks it on the top side right there as Dylan Wilson looks like he's trying to move up into his lane. Jacob Leverstein goes from 4th to 3rd as he passes Dylan Fox. That 42 of Virgil Graham holds down 5th. It looks like everybody trying to move up to the middle, to the high side, something we didn't see early on in our heat races for sure, but it looks like that middle to high groove is where you want to be as Howard Weaver continues to lead them in turn 3.
I tell you what, turn 1 and 2 on that opening lap was just chaos. Trevor Fitz ended up getting ran into the back of. He had to check up. He's lost a couple of spots. He's back to 8th from 5th. I know I saw Cole Newhoffen go back in the field a little bit, as well as Jacob Fields in that 007. He's on the pit lane now, actually. Started in 12th, all the way back to 25th. Howard Weaver continuing to lead. Now the battle is on Dylan Wilson to the inside of the 07 into 1. The 07 going to take the high side and the momentum and keep that top position away from the 80 car right now.
Gee, I'll tell you what, the whole field looks like lap 62 of 188 at Talladega right now, all just kind of running single file there, all in the same lane throughout the field. Not a whole lot of passing going on right at the moment. It looks like that one lane just above that slickness on the bottom side is where you want to be, and that's where all the drivers are trying to hog it. But now we'll try to get a battle for second going on. Dylan Wilson, Leverstein, and Dylan Fox all starting to inch up just a little bit closer to that 07 of Howard Weaver. Dylan Wilson starting to run down that orange 07 machine as well, but right now nobody really able to break out of line just yet.
No, not quite yet. Going to have to get a lot of green flag racing into this track if they want this second lane to come in. Here we go. Dylan Wilson to the bottom side of the 07 into turn number 3. The battle is on for the race lead. Howard Weaver going to have that momentum on the high side. Wilson had to check up a little bit. Here comes Leverstein to the inside of the 777. Going to have to tuck back into line in third as Howard Weaver maintains that top spot ahead of Wilson.
Yeah, it does, and you can see how difficult it is to go down to the bottom and try to complete that pass right now. Dylan Fox gets a little bit checked up there from Leverstein. That's the thing, Wilson, I think he may be a little bit quicker than that 07. It's just like we were talking about earlier, track position so important here. He's going to make another attempt to try to pass the 07, not going to slide up fully in front of him. That's going to lose him some ground and might give Jacob Leverstein a shot to go to second until Wilson slides up in front of him, cuts him off on the straightaway. And Wilson still holds down second, Leverstein in third, and then Dylan Fox still in fourth. Or Virgil Graham's in fourth as he moved by Dylan Fox.
Yeah, 42 now up into that fourth position. Top 3 starting to break away from the rest of the field as Wilson is following in those tire tracks of that 07. Weaver going a little wide there, losing a little bit of time to Wilson, but as long as he has that top side, I don't believe that 80 car is going to be able to get around him. He's going to take a little bit of bumper love in order to get around that 07 right now. He's looking to make up some points after last week as Leverstein going for second now underneath that 80 car of Dylan Wilson, the 777, looking for that second position. He's going to dive it in there. He's going to slide up the racetrack, but Wilson going to maintain that second spot, hitting that high lane and keeping that momentum, and that car wound up on the top side.
Again, you just go to the bottom, and it is so hard to try to make a move. Right now, we're going to try to look through the field, find a battle for you that's relatively close. But again, a lot of these guys just all kind of running that same lane there. But we can find a battle between Nabergi here is on the inside of the 47 trying to make a move. They're back there all the way in 18th right now trying to battle for that 17th spot. Again, a lot of these guys who ran up front in our B mains getting caught up in a little bit of traffic here as, again, Niebergate trying to make that bottom work, but just looks like there's not a whole lot of speed out there. As Drew Phillips will check him up, and how about Nieberge, because he's on the bottom, is able to move by that battle, who move up into the 18th spot.
Yeah, pretty intense battling happening back towards the back of the pack. Actually, right in front of him, we got Kyle Miller, Mike Molnar, and Jeremy Capert, almost 3 wide coming out of turn number 2 for that 13th position. Molnar on the bottom side, Capert sliding it in almost into the left-hand side of that 10 car, almost into the 56 as well. Still green flag so far here at Volusia. Going to come around to complete lap 17 of the scheduled distance tonight. And a little bit further back, we got Fitz, Carter, and the 5 of Zach Rounds trying to do some battle as well. This is a little bit further up in the field for the 8th position. Zach Rounds trying to get underneath Trevor Fitz. Fitz had a bad start on lap number 1. Fell back a couple of positions now, trying to defend and prevent himself from falling back even further in the field, as everything is starting to spread out now between most of the other competitors.
Yeah, again, this field's starting to get strung out, but again, as soon as it gets strung out, we're going to have to start worrying about lap traffic here as we're approaching lap number 20 that have all been run under the green flag. Zach Rounds still trying to make this battle work on the inside, starting to get a little bit even there with Fitz. One driver not really doing well over the other. Fitz comes down to kind of pinch Zach Rounds. That'll work as he'll move up in front of that 5, and I believe that's what you're going to have to do to start shutting down this bottom lane as time goes along. Moving down into the slick stuff and pinching that guy on the bottom may pay dividends. Now, as Rounds will throw it in, almost makes contact there, but again, you can see Fitz holding him down there, pinching him down there, not giving him a whole lot of room to make something happen.
Not really, and 4 drivers doing battle back here for 8th through 11th. As Heileman's joined the mix, he's to the inside of Randall Carter back there for that 10th spot. Trying to get up into the top 10 for the first time tonight, starting in that 14th position. It's that 16 car. Had to go through the B main tonight to make his appearance here in the feature, and he is not wasting any time trying to get his way through the field as he looks to slide up in front of Carter. Gets that position. Carter going to cross him back over coming out of turn number 4. But Heileman at the stripe has that 10th position. And just an update with the up front guys. Howard Weaver now has about a 0.3 of a second lead over Dylan Wilson. It was 0.5 last time around. Leverstein has fallen back as well. So now the top couple of drivers all single file and pulling away from one another as well.
You are pulling away as we have already reached the halfway mark in this one. We've completed lap 25 of the 50 that will compromise this A main tonight. And Howard Weaver has led all 25 of those laps. Dylan Wilson, though, starting to make up just a little bit of ground there on that 07 machine. Leverstein still holding down 3rd. And how about Virgil Graham? Quite a drive from him, kind of driving his way up through the field, starting 6th up to 4th. And he's starting to make up just a little bit of ground there on that 777 in front of him. He may be eyeing that 3rd spot.
The leaders are now in lap traffic. Drew Phillips on the pit lane in a 22 car. Not sure what happened to him, but that's pretty much going to take him out of contention tonight. He has decided to hang up the virtual helmet. Weaver, though, battling with a little bit of lap traffic back here with Blake Brown and Adam Bush. After he gets around his 26, I'm going to leave 21 cars left on the lead lap. And the top 6 have broken away from that 7th position car of Ronnie Falloway by over 1.5 seconds. So it's 2 seconds back to Shane James in 6th. And then 3.2 from the leader to Ronnie Falloway. Zach Rounds about 5.5 seconds back, as Trevor Fitz and David Heileman are now side by side battling for that 9th position.
Yeah, David Heileman trying to make the climb up to 9th.
Yeah, he's got that position now as Fitz has fallen back to the 10th position. Now Heileman looking to set his sights on Zach Rounds, as got to say one of the biggest movers of the race, or a couple big movers on the race so far tonight. Jeremy Capert up from 21st to 14th, battling with that 10 car of Kyle Miller still back here in the 13th and 14th positions. And also, Lucas Chowning for 25th to 18th in that 47 car. It's going to take a little bit more than, you know, a good run for those guys to be able to contend for this race win. Dylan Wilson getting around lap traffic. That's the 18 of Jason Minat. As it looks like Weaver is pretty much scot-free for another couple of laps as we're completing lap 33 of the scheduled 50 laps. So we have 17 laps to go for this A main.
I'll tell you what, the track is changing just a little bit. There's kind of significant bumps starting to form on the entrance of turns 1 and turns 3. Jacob Leverstein trying to make a move there on Dylan Wilson, though. Wilson will reject it as he loses some time there to Howard Weaver, but the track going through a little bit of an evolution here. You can see kind of the cars bouncing around as they go into 3, especially here across the start-finish line as they go into 1, but I just don't see that high line really wearing out at all. Still seems like that's the place you want to be.
And moisture still on the top side of this racetrack. The cushion starting to form up there as well, giving these drivers ample amount of grip to rip it through on that top side through 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, both sides of the track. Wilson trying a little bit of a different line in 3 and 4 last time around, lost a little bit of time to Howard Weaver. Jacob Leverstein, though, he's on the charge. 777, he wants that second position. He's going to try it on the outside here as Wilson goes back to the bottom. He's found a little bit of moisture at the bottom of the racetrack in that 80 car. He has picked up a little bit of time, but now Leverstein closing in on the back of that 80 car out of 2.
Yeah, he is. It looks like Wilson trying to kind of diamond his corners. Looks like he's going to try to make a run to the bottom here, and he's able to, because of that, he's able to keep that momentum off the exit of the corner and hold that 777, who's utilizing the top side back there away from him. Lost a little bit of time there to Howard Weaver. I think he's running about the same times, but he's going to have to make up quite a distance here as we're approaching, or we're completing lap 39. Here as we have 11 laps to go. Howard Weaver is still your leader.
You know, navigating through lap traffic, always a little bit of a guessing game as to where the lap traffic is going to go. All of the guys who've been lapped so far tonight have done a great job of getting out of the way of the leaders and making sure their intentions are known on what line that they wanted to run. So big ups to them tonight. As pretty much, I mean, it's just been a long green flag run so far. 10 laps left. Make that 9 at the line for Howard Weaver to take home another victory. It will be his 3rd on the season if he can close this out. But of course, Dylan Wilson still trying to charge and chase down that 07 because he wants to get his 5th win on the season and have a good cushion going into next week's race, which is going to be the last race of the season for the UMP Modified Series and championship night for these guys as well. So looking at your top 5, you got Howard Weaver, Dylan Wilson, Jacob Leverstein, Virgil Graham, and Dylan Fox still up here in the top 5.
Yeah, you can see that last time by Dylan Wilson gained about a 10th and a half there. Lost it now, but we're going to move it back to the 5th spot where we've seen a battle. Virgil Graham and Dylan Fox, as Fox will slide up in front of Graham, take the 4th spot at the line as we approach 6 to go. Fox holding it down on the high side. That 42 testing out the bottom. Fox going to get the momentum off the corner. And again, riding right up kind of on the clean part of the track. You can see it gets narrower or smaller and smaller as the laps continue to go on. 5 to go, and Dylan Fox has found himself in the 4th spot.
Started in 3rd. Only drivers in the top 4 to flip positions have been Leverstein and Fox, with 4 laps to go now for that 07 Howard Weaver. Dylan Wilson he's come alive here in the last couple of laps. He's still got to get around him. There's one thing to catch him. It's another thing to pass him as he's starting to continue. He continues running that diamond line as he's right there with him. 3 laps to run here at Volusia. Dylan Wilson, he's back there on the back bumper of Weaver now for the race lead.
This race is certainly not done yet, and that's why they run 50 laps. The 80 car has found something and made up just a little bit of ground there on Howard Weaver. They cross the stripe, 2 laps to go. Dylan Wilson will see what type of aggressive move he can make in that Kool-Aid machine, but right now Howard Weaver holds a pretty comfortable lead as they go off of 3 into 4. The white flag being displayed for the 07. Who's it going to be at Fallujah?
Weaver now has a little bit of lap traffic to take care of. Cole Newhoff in the 8 car on the top side. He's going to have to check up a little bit. That's going to give Wilson a little bit of a shimmer of hope. Caution comes out. I do not believe that's going to end the race. I believe we're going to have a one-lap shootout. Oh, no, the leaders are in it. Weaver's around on the front stretch. Oh, Leverstein's in it as well. He blows his motor.
Wow, and just when you thought that the race was over, and again, these guys, if they run a yellow flag at the last lap, and it happens before the start-finish line, that is not the end of the race, and it looks like, guys, it looks like the 10 car there of Kyle Miller and Dalton Connor in the 9 were parked off of turns 3 and 4, and then poor Dylan Wilson and Howard Weaver nowhere to go. They're involved in it as well, and I believe we're going to have another restart, 1 lap to go to try to settle this thing. So just when you thought it was over and we were going to get out of here with a green flag race, racing has a way of surprising you.
I think that is it. All of the drivers are on the pit lane right now, so we're going to have to get an admin and some scoring in here to determine who gets to win, because Wilson beat Weaver to the line there at the end. So we're not 100% sure what our results are as of right now. So we're gonna let the admins try to debate about it right now. Unofficially, you have Dylan Wilson, your race winner, Howard Weaver in second. Leverstein, Graham, and Fox, your top 5 right now, but we're gonna have to wait on our admin team here to see how they're gonna want to call these results. So we're gonna try and stall for a little bit of time here and let our admins go over the footage, and we'll see what they have here at the end.
Well, I know in the past, and again, we know it happened a lot in a particular sprint car race that we saw. The precedent was that the yellow flag flies before the leader's able to get to the checkered flag, that they rack them up and do them again. I don't know if they've had a change in that policy since then, which would have been probably about 2.5, maybe 2 weeks ago or so, but I think the cars are pulling off track here, and again, we're just going to have to get official word, like you said, to see. One, I obviously believe they're not going to get them going again, but whether Howard Weaver won this thing or someone else did, I'm not really sure what happened there and who got to the line first, but we're just going to have to wait and hear and see what these guys say. Again, every league has different rules, and sometimes they change around, and we'll see what these guys ultimately, what decision they come to.
All right, the field freezes at the yellow according to the admins here. Howard Weaver does take home the checker flag here tonight. Dylan Wilson going to come home in second, and we have our third place finisher in the interview, waiting for an interview here. So let's see. Actually, let's go ahead and get in our. Oh, Jesus. I wish people would stop moving rooms in here. We have our admin in here, Mr. Stephen Calavota. So what's the official word from the admin booth here?
Official word is how we roll is at the time of the yellow, that field freezes. Howard Weaver had to let off for the cars at the start-finish line that caused the yellow flag. But prior to that, Howard was stuck at first at that freeze. Dylan was second. The 777 of Jacob third.
All right, 10-4. Well, thank you for coming into the booth and clarifying it, and we'll be talking to you a little bit later on.
Appreciate all your hard work, fellas. Good job today.
All right, well, there it goes, folks. So let's go ahead and waste no time here. We're going to go ahead and interview our third-place finisher, the 777s, Jacob Leverstein. You got a copy there, bud?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, well, I mean, an interesting ending to the race. I mean, pretty much, if you take out turns 3 and 4 from that last lap, it was completely green the whole way around. You had a lot of battling going on between you, Dylan Fox, and you and our eventual second-place finisher, and Dylan Wilson there throughout the night. So, I mean, a lot of green flag racing. Tell us how it was from out there behind the wheel.
Yeah, it was pretty decent out there. I thought I had something there for Dylan Wilson for a little bit. Thought I had something for both of them, but I was, letting the race go on and seeing what would happen. And then there around, I guess, mid-race, my car started pushing terribly going into the corners, and they started pulling away from me. And then at that point, I was just hoping that they would wreck each other.
Well, as much as the track changed there from 25 cars pretty much on the track at all times, just tearing up the racing groove. How much did the track change out there actually?
Honestly, what really happened is it just seemed like we just kind of just moved up with the black. That's all. I mean, I was really expecting for that middle to come in, and I saw Dylan was working it a little bit, going down, kind of like hitting the top and then going straight to the middle. But I didn't really think that was the best thing to do. I guess I don't know, but it was just, it really did not work out the way that I thought it would. I thought it would really come down to the bottom and the middle at the end of the race.
All right, Big 10-4 there. Well, a great race out of the 777 camp. I mean, a good solid third place, a good podium. But I do have to say something before I let you get to your sponsors and everything. I want to wish you good luck next week in the Super Late Model Championship. I see right here you're leading by 10 points heading into the last race. So what is your plan for that last race next Tuesday?
Thank you. I'm just going to try to drive, just try to, my main plan is just try to finish in the top 10, because if I finish in the top 10, there's no way, like at least 9th place, there's like no way that he's gonna obviously get the points lead. So that's my plan. Just try to get into the top 10 and stay there.
All right, anything you shout out want to give before we let you go here?
Fox Sound Graphics and you guys up in the booth are doing a good job, and that's it.
All right, 10-4. Well, congratulations on your third place finish. That's the 777s of Jacob Leverstein. And now we have to bring in our eventual second place finisher, the 80 car of Dylan Wilson. You got a copy there, bud?
I do.
Well, if it would have been at the line, you would have snuck away with a checkered flag. But it just seems like you may have had the faster car there towards the beginning of the race. It just, there wasn't anywhere for you to go to pass him. I mean, did it feel like that from inside the car as well?
Yeah, honestly, I was just riding. Like, I wasn't trying to press it early, but seeing how that race played out, I probably should have slid him or something when I had to run. But I was just waiting for the top to go away, but it just never did. It just kept building up, and I've never seen that at Volusia before, so that was weird. You know what I mean? That's why I was so patient early in the race. But yeah, I mean, once we got going, we were kind of just the same speed. So I don't know. I was just waiting on a mistake at that point, He was living on the cushion, and I was searching around, and I was kind of catching him at the end, but it just wasn't enough. And I apologize for spinning him out right there, even though it was after the yellow. I couldn't see. I was so tucked up under him. I couldn't see beyond his car, and he checked out for that wreck. I spun him out, but
hey, it happens. It happens. But let's see, that'll set you up going into, it should, if points are the same way that I think they are, should set you up with about a 6 to 8 point cushion heading into next week, which of course is the championship week for the UMP Modified Series. So how do you like your chances heading into next week to try and take home this championship?
yeah, I don't really worry about points until after the last race of the year. I just go into every race trying to win and let the points play out. If we run good and nights like this, I think Howard's chasing us some points, so he'll probably make up a couple. And I mean, we'll see how it plays out. If he wins, congrats to him. If I win, then cool deal.
All right, 10-4. Love the modesty there, but still, that's gonna pretty much all he can do right now is tie you for the most wins this season. So I mean, winningest driver so far out of 11 races, and I mean just padding on the stats as well. 7 top 3 finishes. So I mean, that's only 4 races you finished outside of the top 3. A great resume for this season here, and it's been a pleasure watching you out on the track so far. We wish you luck next week heading into our last race, and we pretty much if you have anything thank yous and shout outs you want to give before we let you go, man? I mean, floor is yours.
All right, yeah, I do. Congrats to Howard on the win. I mean, he ran a great race, so he deserved to win that. And that was an awesome race. 50 laps green flag, or 49 and 3/4 laps green flag. That was awesome. To all the drivers. Thanks to everybody watching. Thanks to VLR putting this on. Thank you guys for broadcasting. Thank you to Team D1RT. The guys over there, Trevor, Clay, Kyle, Rocket. There's more over there right now. Just a lot of guys over there. Thank you to them. Oh, man. I think that's it.
All right, 10-4, bud. Well, again, good luck to you next week. We'll see you in 7 days' time. That is the second place finisher, the 80 car of Dylan Wilson. We're going to bring in our race winner, the 07 of Howard Weaver. You got a copy there, bud?
Yeah, I got you.
All right. Well, your third win on the season there, a pretty much all green flag run. And, once that green flag dropped, you never looked back, never relinquished that lead. So congratulations on a dominant performance here tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was still tough. I didn't expect it to go caution-free either, but you never really expect that. I knew Dylan was fast. He was real fast early and just was able to kind of hold him off till the end, and then the last lap was pretty crazy. Yeah,
I would say so. I mean, cut off the last, cut out turns 3 and 4. I mean, we pretty much, green to checkered. But there coming out of turn 4, I mean, what did you see out on the track? I mean, we saw a couple of cars stop, saw you try to slow up, and then you ended up going around there.
Yeah, I don't know. I was behind Cole Newhoff, and coming off turn 2, he got a little bit squirrely, so I decided in turn 3 and 4 I was probably going to have to go a little bit lower and cross under him, which is probably a good thing, so that I could avoid those guys. And then coming off turn 4, I just saw two people sitting there, and one of them started to back up into the lane, and I was like, oh no. So I kind of lifted, and I'm not sure if Dylan did, but we went around and yeah, I didn't know the rules, so I figured that he won, but it would have sucked to have lost it like that anyway. But yeah, it was a good race, and I don't know what happened there, but it was crazy. It went caution free until 10 feet until the start finish line though.
Yeah, definitely an interesting race. A lot of single file there. Just seems like that track was just one lane out there tonight.
Yeah, that's really unusual for Volusia. It's usually the most racy track, but there one time I got it out to a decent lead, and I decided to go down to the bottom in turn 3 and 4 just to try it, and Dylan caught right up to my bumper again. So I lost about 4 or 5 tenths just like that. And so it was an unusual race for Volusia. I would have been happier for it to be on the bottom, but being on the top worked too, I guess. So yeah, I'm just happy to get another win. It's been a while, and I haven't had good luck at all lately.
Yeah, well, third win on the season, and coming into the last race of the season, you're sitting there just trailing Dylan Wilson. By my count, it's either going to be 6 or 8 points heading into next week. So what do you have to do in that 07 car and try and get this championship away from that 80 car?
There's nothing I can really do. I mean, he's going to have some horrible luck, but I'm not too worried about the championship. I've always been someone who kind of races and tries to win and not really race for points. Of course, the money in the sim rig would be awesome, but I think Dylan, I mean, if he just runs a clean race and gets out of there, he's going to probably lock the championship up. So I'm just going to go out there and have fun and hopefully finish the season on a good note no matter what. And good luck to him, because he's always been kind of my favorite driver, I guess you could say.
All right, well, 10-4, bud. So I guess the only thing left to do is get your thank yous and your shots when we have you on your way here.
Yeah, let me first shout out to this guy, Jason Conway. He left me a pretty vulgar message into my inbox after that race. Already seen it because it gave me the notification. So he's a real class act. But I can't even say what the message said. It was so bad. But yeah, shout out to him for watching and cheering on me that race, I guess you could say. And shout out to you guys for calling it. You, Dylan, Blake, McCandless, OCTV. Dylan for racing me clean. I mean, we weren't too close until the very end, but you know, he still runs me clean. And my dad, if he's watching, and VLR, Accelerated, Team Friday, Tennessee Punch, Farmer City Raceway, and all the people that were watching tonight.
All right, 10-4. Well, congratulations once again goes out to the 07 of Howard Weaver and Blake. You got anything you want to throw in here before we wrap this show up?
Well, kind of like you were saying, we got 1 week left here. Well, before my mic messed up on me, we got 1 week left, and see, maybe we can get a caution next week. I know we ended under yellow, but it's always good as a sim racer to come out here and get a green flag run, and I'm sure Howard Weaver's pretty pleased. There's nothing really better than having a long green flag run where nothing you can really do other than just go out, race, have no strategy affected, and you come out a winner.
Yeah, well, there you have it. Yeah, I mean, pretty much green checkered flag racing. I mean, you know, can't get much better than that. A lot of guys out there driving safe and driving level with their heads out there. And, you know, again, got to thank the lap cars for staying out of the way of the leaders there when they got to them. Of course, you know, they could race whatever line they wanted to, but they chose to do them a solid and keep out of their way. Next Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern, we're going to have the championship finale for the Accelerated UMP Modified Series live here on the Accelerated Facebook page. So make sure you tune into that. That's going to be a great race. And then, of course, next time you see us will be Sunday night at 8 o'clock, around 8 o'clock, for the Accelerated Sprint Car Series presented by the Dirt Collective. That's going to be race number 11, and then, you know, they have 2 more races to run as of right now, so that'll be the penultimate race for that championship. So, of course, we got to thank our sponsors as well, the Accelerated brand, for letting us broadcast on here and being the title sponsor. Got to thank WR1 Sim Chassis for giving away that sim rig to the Modified Champion, Team Friday Chassis Consultants for sponsoring the fastest laps in all 3 of our series, Burberry Designs for sponsoring the Hard Charger Award tonight, and the Kenny Wallace Dirt Racing Experience for giving out a free drive to all VLR champions. And I'd like to thank a couple of our affiliates as well: Dirt Car Racing, STLRacing.com, Extreme Race Graphics, Cape Screen Printing, RacingN.com, World of Dirt, Farmer City Raceway, the Dirt Racing Connection, Tennessee Punch Bunch, RacingJunk.com Classifieds, St. Louis Dirt Track Racing, Magnolia Motor Speedway, and the Volusia Speedway Park, as well as the rest of the sponsors on the screen. Make sure you go check them out on Facebook, and we will see y'all next Wednesday night for the finale. So for Blake, Dylan, and myself, we are OCTV, and we will see y'all in the next race.